Hey guys, and welcome back to the Blue Podcast Network. This is the Blue Podcast, and I'm sure you can see next to me, I'm sat next to a guest. What's your name? I'm trying something different.
I'm sure you can see your name. I'm sitting next to a guest.
Yeah, I'm trying something different.
Okay, let's do that. My name's Benji.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you. I fucking hell, you
proper throw me under the bus.
What is this? Podcast better in there.
That's what I'm trying to do now. I've never done a podcast like that before.
Do you want him to come back or not?
No, I know it already, so I'm trying to.
The host introduces the guest.
That's what I was thinking.
And then
It's always been like that, though.
I'm sat next to some geezer. Yeah. What's your name, mate?
It's always been like
Be
that.
able to roll off the tongue.
I can roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
So my name's Benji. I run a company called Connect Management. We are the largest social first talent agency in the UK. We represent 180 different influencers, creators, actors, celebrities, whatever you want to call them, and help them commercialise their offering. So essentially earning them money through brand deals, book deals, TV deals, building out businesses, and so on and so forth. I'm also an investor in a football club called Eastbourne Borough, that you know very well.
I know very well.
You work for us.
I do work for you.
And I've shared many an away day with you, so that's nice.
Recently we went to Truro.
We did. That was an absolute mission and a half.
That was a slog. But we
bizarre.
won. At least we won.
Yeah, great result. But bizarre atmosphere.
Yeah, it was like busy but quiet.
Okay.
It's like imagine you went to watch a football game but you didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it is in Jamaica.
That's
how it is in
they
any
went,
football game.
give it up for your Truro boys! And then it was just
Oh, so that's America then. Never mind. That's the States. Yeah.
nothing. So yeah, that was interesting.
That's
Yeah, I also run a social first record label called Mutual in Music, where we essentially help artists that have blown up or gathered their following on socials through music, basically put out music through a label, and there's a few other bits and pieces that we can talk about.
This is why I wanted to start.
we cover everything.
I knew that you'd just
impressive.
fly off. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. But
It's because he couldn't remember it. That's why.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Like I've been in the studio since 10:30 this morning. So have you actually?
You came from
Amsterdam.
the worst person to say that.
I've come in
He's
4
like,
in the morning.
You haven't been here.
I'm not pretending to know anything about football.
That's true. That's why you're here for the.
We've got everything.
learning
We've got football.
experience.
We've got music. We've got everything.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Educate
I'm very
me.
passionate about football.
Yes.
It's my favourite sport. And I think that it's a very interesting topic at the moment because every celebrity under the sun, especially American celebrities, are buying up non-league football teams or even some league football teams. Obviously, Wrexham have absolutely smashed out of the park. I think Wrexham is part of the reason why a lot of these celebrities are wanting to get involved. They see the success, they see the money.
Isn't the Chelsea owner American?
Yes. Well, he's only 38% owner.
Yeah.
But yes.
We had a whole podcast on that this morning.
Of something that's worth $4.5 billion.
Yeah, we did the whole podcast on that this morning. we did the whole thing this morning on that as well. It's very
We had was it Louis
Benevetti, who does Chelsea Echo, works with Chelsea very closely, and kind of just pretty much just broke it down and just broke down everything. And it is complicated, that whole thing. I'm happy supporting Arsenal at this point. It makes our life a lot easier.
100%. Someone came up to me in Carnaby Street the other day and started asking me who's better, Rice or Xhaka, and all these silly questions. And I was quite strongly opinionated. I think it actually went viral, and I got roasted in the comments because it was literally the weekend that Rice ended up getting sent off.
Oh, no. Yeah, but
Anyway,
that's it. Yeah.
Was it a sending off?
If you read the rules,
Yes.
it is a sending off. Is it weak? Is it a National League sending off? Yes.
Yeah.
I expect that to happen in an Eastbourne.
Yeah.
It actually did in the Braintree game, last game of the season. Yaya Bamba got sent off for exactly that.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the ball hit his foot and then he got kicked and then he got sent off.
Yeah.
It's
Although the player did fully swing through.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That was ridiculous.
There was severe. They call it serious foul play.
Yeah.
That was there. And
I think maybe Rice should have got his second yellow and been sent off, and I think their player should have been sent off.
Yeah.
I think that would be realistically fair.
I'm not mocking you. I'm just saying.
Fan or something.
No, I don't watch football.
He doesn't know.
That's it. Yeah.
So
it's coming from like a point.
There's a ball, right? And then the players, they all kick it.
I know the offside rule,
and
that
then
jazz.
there's
I'm not that.
Oh, you know the offside rule?
Yeah.
Explain what is it?
Don't do this. I do know it. I know it, but like I'm
Okay.
gonna fumble it.
So
It's when if you kick the ball, if you pass the ball to a player and there's no one between them and the goalie, they're offside.
That's
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's like that's not like the best way to put it, but like
Yeah.
it's like, and if I'm passing the ball to you,
It's if you're past the last defender.
that's what I mean. Yeah,
Well, no,
that's what.
technically he said that. No
that's
one
basically
between
what I
him and the
said,
goalkeeper.
Let's be fair,
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve a handshake.
You know what? Fair enough.
You asked me like a question about the NFL. I wouldn't have a Scooby. So
Yeah.
it's
Neither
fair
would I.
enough.
So.
I know a bit.
What sports do you follow? I know this is a podcast about you, but it's alright.
We can ask him what he follows.
I watch a bit of F1 to be fair,
I like
fair.
F1.
I like F1.
but other than that, like I don't. I only really watch it as like a social calling, not like for any not real interest. I watch films and TV shows and
Fair.
music. That's my jam.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
So I don't know why I'm sat here right now, but
Because I thought
Good to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah,
Yeah,
Why not? We're gonna have an interesting
We've got
conversation.
music, so
Oh, yeah, I'm
we
all
got
ears
that.
for this sort of stuff.
so there's a podcast which talks about football business, and what's it called? It's I've forgotten the name of it anyway. Basically, what they've done is they brought in two hosts. One's a comedian who knows fuck all about football business,
Yeah.
and one's someone who knows loads about football business. And that's why I wanted you to start bringing you into more of these kind of things, because actually it's really interesting having that kind of person who doesn't know anything about it asking that question. Did you
Yeah.
drop your phone?
every time, every
He's
podcast.
been here a couple of podcasts now. Every time drops his phone through the gap.
Alright.
Oh,
I didn't even know there was
it's
one.
fine. We'll be
Yeah.
alright.
But Benji,
We'll
let's
get back
start at the beginning. Where would you say the beginning of your journey has been?
I'll start from school because I think that is where the sort of fire in my belly started in terms of wanting to be an entrepreneur and really just like having a passion for trying to make money. I guess that's where it all started from. So I was never very academic, in and out of school, being suspended sort of thing. Always a class clown. Didn't really take it that seriously. I'm dyslexic, I've got ADHD. Not that I use that as any sort of excuse, but I was never somebody that could sit down in an English exam and ace the test, right? And even when I sat down and screwed my head on to sort of revise and try and do well, I'd still do shit. So I knew that university wasn't really for me. I had a lot of conversations with friends, family, talking about how I get myself into a lot of debt and what would I have to show for it afterwards. I'm a big believer, and some people may disagree with me, but I believe that university is something that should be done if you're looking to specialise. So if there's a certain thing that you know 100% I'm looking to progress my career in that, for example, sports marketing, for example, accountancy, for example, law, veterinary, doctor, it's imperative that you go to university. You're not going to get an opportunity in that field without it. If you're somebody like me, who's a bit of a wheeler dealer, sort of salesman, bit of a flair for business, why would I sit and read a book for 4 years to be told how to run a business when I can literally go and experience it myself and learn tenfold
I think
more?
that's big.
Yeah. I think going out and doing it is the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
So-
all experience is experience, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good or bad.
And I feel like I've learned more. Firstly, I did a business diploma for my A-levels, a BTEC, which I got distinction, whatever you call it in, which is the equivalent of 3 A-levels, and I could have gone to any university really that I wanted to, bar maybe your Cambridges and your Oxfords.
Yeah.
I haven't used, genuinely, one single thing that I learned in that business diploma in my everyday work.
And yet you're running a business perfectly.
Multiple businesses.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Of course.
And they didn't teach us about tax. They didn't teach us about national insurance.
Yeah.
They
That
didn't
would've
teach
been
us
helpful.
about interest rates.
Yeah.
They don't teach you about cash flow. They don't teach you about managing staff. All you're learning is the the textbook way of running a business, which doesn't work in today's world, right? So anyway, aside from that, so I left school, and I did work experience at a lot of different places. One of them being Sky. I did work experience at Mediacom. Loved the sort of environment of working at a big corporation. I enjoyed it. And then I did a week, which turned into a month, at my dad's business, which is a company called Ink Global, and they're an advertising agency. And very quickly I realised that I could work in a commission-based role, a sales role, do what I'm good at, which is speak to people, and earn way more money than I thought I could in any other job, right? So I decided to take the leap, and to be honest, in my own head, I suffered with a lot of problems of thinking of like, oh, you're working for your dad, like you're a bit of a failure, this sort of thing. And I kind of just sucked that up and just went on with it, I made it my mission to prove to everybody in that business that there is a reason that I was there and that I could deliver results.
Yeah. So were you 18 at this point?
I actually think I was 17.
17, okay.
Yeah, the diploma finished when I was like 17 and a half, and literally that week I didn't go on summer holiday or anything like that. Just went straight in and started working.
That's interesting because like the way that you've articulated what it is that you were doing at that point in time, I visualised that you were 20, 21 years old.
I was about to say the same thing.
But like it's one of those things that you clearly like. I'm not going to say that you were ahead because obviously there's no frame of reference. Everybody does different speeds and things like that. But it clearly sounds like the way that you committed, you'd already sort of knew what you wanted to do. And that's quite interesting.
Ahead is the wrong word because I was extremely inexperienced. I'm sure if we listen back to any of my calls that I was making when I was 17 and a half, 18, I'd be embarrassed. I'd probably be cringing to the high heels, right?
Yeah.
But you've got to learn somehow, and I wasn't the best when I got there. Was I the best when I left? Probably not. There was guys that had been there for 10, 15, 20 years that were absolute animals at it and were billing millions and millions of pounds. Did I, in the year before I left, build back £2.5 million? Yes, at 20. And was I earning good money?
That's
yes.
incredible.
So I realised that I had a passion, not only a passion, but like an actual skill of being able to convince brands essentially to spend money.
Sorry, just to point out that I think that's impressive because you've just thrown yourself into that. As you said, you haven't gone through any kind of learning of that. You've just gone, let's try this, kind of throw yourself into it.
Yeah.
And you've kind of just had to float. Do you know what I mean? So that's really impressive.
100%. And so this brings us to 2020. I've been there for 3.5, 4 years.
Right, at Inc.
At Inc. I was...
So you're 25 now, sorry, you don't mind.
Yeah, 25 now, so I must have been 21 or just turning 21. I actually think I was 20. I had a team of 3 people that were working under me. I was actually in charge of the Ethiopian Airlines account. So I was back and forth a couple of times to Ethiopia, working on their magazines, on their TV projects, and essentially just working within Africa to sell advertising for the airline. I also worked on the Etihad account for a year. I did targeted advertising for EasyJet and a lot of other airlines. I was basically just... I think I almost became like the guy that just would hop onto projects.
So you mentioned Curacao and the whole, okay.
So I would hop onto projects, I would get on the phone, and I don't think I was better than anyone else. I think I just outworked them.
Something that I've been learning recently is, would you say that you were more of a generalist then when you were younger, kind of learning the trade and learning bits and pieces from everything?
Yeah.
And now, kind of as you get older, is when you'll start to specialise in what you're better at, or you always say you're going to be a generalist in some ways.
I think back then, yes, I was generally learning everything because I was very young. I'd still consider myself young now, but I was very young and I wanted to just get experience. Like that's what everyone was saying, just get experience under your belt, get experience under your belt. So at that point, I was earning good money. I had managed to buy myself or put down a deposit on a flat. I had a convertible BMW, everything was hunky-dory. Was genuinely doing really, really well. And then we basically got this call from China mid-2020 being like, there's this thing coming called coronavirus. We're halting all our flights. It's probably coming to you guys. Yeah. And we all laughed about it. I was like, yeah, it's just fucking nonsense, like some news story, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward 3 months, every single plane was grounded. No one was flying. We had to refund every single advertiser. So that business went from 150 million a year revenue overnight to 0, pretty much. Which obviously was extremely stressful for my family without owning it. Yeah, and it's difficult. I want to say it was stressful for me. I was stressed. I was upset for my family. I was upset for my dad for having to go through a lot of the things that he had to do, and he did an amazing job to basically save the business, and it's still flourishing and doing really well to this day. But I was working on something else. Like as soon as the way my brain works is, as you say, with
Yeah.
the general. As soon as I realised that shit had hit the fan, I was like, cool, right,
What's next?
got a flat to pay for,
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
a car to pay for, what am I doing? Can't sit here on furlough. I'm not in a sales job, my basic salary is near to nothing. I'm getting 80% of it on furlough. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And that's where this whole business of Connect started. So we're now moving on to, I guess, modern day. I'm some sort of archaeologist.
I hope you're still young, because you're only a year older than me.
I would definitely say I'm still young.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I will say that I find just like really interesting. It's not necessarily relevant about your specific story, but it's just like how everybody from all walks of life, no matter at what point in their life, they'll start the story and talk to you for 10 years. Everybody's got that bit, their reveal, where at some point in their life, COVID comes up.
Something
Yeah,
happens.
and it knocks something.
Everything hits the fan.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's quite interesting. It's not obviously not ideal, because obviously it struggles, but it's really interesting just to know that that's where you went through. We've all got our own stories that are very different, and they all just sync up for a year.
I think it's quite
And
fitting
then-
today.
It is, isn't it?
World Suicide
I agree.
Day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh, is it
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
Yesterday, it says
Yes.
Suicide Prevention Week
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general.
That
yeah.
reminds me of
I didn't know that,
a Robin Williams quote where he says
Oh, yeah.
like everybody's dealing with their own struggles on
Yeah.
the inside out.
That's one of my favourite men of all time.
Yeah.
That's Robin Williams. Absolute.
Also, I think
absolute legend.
it's about things that come out of it as well. I think you'll go on to it, of course, but as you just said, where you started Kinetic, for example, that's something that's come out of it.
Yeah.
So as much as we've all had issues with it. Kinetic, sorry.
Yeah, I noticed that.
That's my brain not working.
Good.
Yeah, I think it brings out different things as well. I think we'll go on to that, but
100%. So I rekindled a relationship actually through one of my best friends, a guy called Forms, the rapper.
Oh, yeah,
met him
yeah.
when it comes to a lot of the Eastbourne games.
I've actually never met him yet.
Have you not?
No.
I'll introduce you to him at some point.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of stuff with Tottenham this year,
Yes.
which is actually really cool. And
He was also wearing the Eastbourne away shirt in one of his videos.
Yeah.
That was sick.
yeah,
It's a nice kit.
beautiful kid.
Such a nice kit.
Tottenham posted him last night on their
Okay.
Instagram feed, and he's like doing a lot of stuff with them, which is really cool. He's like the biggest Tottenham fan you'll ever meet. Hates everything about Arsenal. Cannot talk about Arsenal in the house, otherwise I get absolutely ruined. But I still remind him.
it's going to be a good week for you guys. Then.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good week then. North London Derby
Bring
coming
it
up.
on, mate. He'll probably be there, to be fair, so
Fair enough.
don't have to worry about watching it with him. So he introduced me to a guy called Brandon, who I knew well, but we sort of drifted apart after school. He went away and worked for a big production company, and he was filming like these sick TV commercials with like Jack Whitehall and all these cool people.
Oh, wow.
And he was just like smashing life. He too realised that social media was absolutely blowing up. He left their production company, started working with these two guys called Woody and Kleiny, who are massive social stars.
Don't they like prank each other all
Yeah.
the time? Yeah,
They've got, like,
they're funny.
30, 40
yeah.
million followers.
It's the Woody, and then they throw the phone into the pool and they've got to try and catch it.
Yeah.
Those guys are good. Those guys are funny.
Jokes,
Yeah.
very jokes.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that you showed me once. I think we'd had a couple of drinks, and you were like, "Have you seen these guys?"
If we've had a couple of drinks,
Yeah.
conversation.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
that's a
good
No
point.
idea, That's the end of the
It's just, they're just
conversation.
ringing a bell.
We'll just probably.
Yeah.
We've probably seen it
Yeah.
and that kind of,
You 100% will have seen them. You'll recognise them. You'll recognise.
Oh
them.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
everyone in the UK should know who they are.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And
yeah.
if you don't, you should go and watch them because they're really jokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was working with them, and the same thing. Like people think, COVID wouldn't affect influencers. Well, it does, because we can't all get together and film content.
Yeah.
Like,
That's such a
people
good point,
people just
yeah.
assume that these two guys have an iPhone propped up on a gimbal and that's it. Like, it's not. It's
Yeah.
a camera team. There's 10 editors. There's this. There's that. Like, it's a full blown production behind a lot of these guys. So obviously they couldn't meet up and make content. And Brandon said to himself, right, I'm just going to post a video every single day on my own social media platform. Bear in mind.
Really good for the video.
He decided he was going to post a clip every single day on his own social channels throughout COVID, basically just to get himself by it. And he thought, like,
Nice.
if I'm behind the scenes making all this content with these guys and they're getting millions and millions of views, surely I'm able to do that for myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward to the end of lockdown, he had 1 million followers. And
That's not bad.
yeah,
That'll do.
it's impressive,
Fair
right?
play. Yeah.
Very impressive.
Someday.
Fast forward to this day, he's got close to 20 million. So
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
absolutely
that's
smashing it.
brilliant.
He's the most viewed YouTube page in Europe, full stop.
Is this
That's incredible.
who Zach worked with?
Zach, my brother worked for
yeah.
him for a long time.
That's incredible.
Zach's now doing all the social channels for Eastbourne, basically using everything that he's learned with Brandon.
Teaching me what he knows as well.
Teaching you as well. Like, Zach's great. Zach's really, really good
That's
at what he
great.
does. And
That's
if you watch our Eastbourne highlights, they're hilarious.
Oh
and
yeah,
I think that's
the reels
that's,
and TikToks are.
I'm gonna start looking
that's
at
almost
Yeah,
like
me too.
that's
It might come
our
up the other day.
strategy as a team. Is like we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. Like we understand the value in virality. We want to draw a younger audience to our club. We want to be
In.
up there.
Yeah.
Like we want people to think of us in a funny like, oh yeah, that team's jokes. And especially when we start contending for promotions and stuff like that as we work our way up the leagues.
Where are we in the league right now, Ben?
We're in second place. No need to jinx it, Tom.
But I think social media is very important nowadays as well.
Well, I
That's
think
what's going to bring in
You
your
take,
audience.
you take the sale of Fletcher Holman. We sold
Yes.
we sold a player last year to Wolves, from the National League South to Wolves.
That's like 5 or 6 leagues
Below.
different.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big difference.
So
It's a pretty
huge
big
jump.
league. Then.
Yeah,
and I genuinely don't believe that would have happened without our social media popping
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
He scored 5 goals in one game. That compilation got about 200,000-300,000 views. That's the catalyst. That's the
Yeah.
reason that he had eyes on him.
Yeah.
So you can't deny the value of social media. The reason we're pumping so much money into making sure that our social media is top notch is because, yes, we obviously want to win stuff and we want to be up there, but at the same time, if there's players on our team that we can move up divisions, that is ultimately the goal as well.
Yeah.
And
If
we
anything,
want to
we
be
want
like the stepping block for these players to make it into the Championship, the Premier League,
Yeah.
League Two. Like, we want to develop people. We want to develop.
It's a
players.
name. It's like Mikel Antonio. You'll know he came from Tooting Mitcham. It's a name that
Exactly.
puts you off from there. From you get
Yeah,
like
Ollie
a smaller
Watkins
club.
from Western Superman,
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
players. That's exactly what we want to be known for. And obviously we want to contend as well, which is
course.
why we want to have the best players. And we
Yeah.
understand that sometimes having the best players in those leagues means they're going to have to go up a league.
Yeah. But it's funny that you say how like the importance of social media versus sort of like personal interactions with like networking and things like that, because there's this. I mean, it's not a great example, but on TikTok, you only really when you see these companies with the blue tick, you go, I don't care, it's an advert. But the ones that aren't adverts, so it's like Ryanair, like their social media, they're
It's jokes, right?
it's so funny.
I was
'cause
seeing
it's just
some of
like
the Twitter responses are hilarious.
yeah, literally, and it's like the Duolingo bird as well.
Mhm.
You know, someone's like, does a Duolingo bird respond? And he
Yeah.
goes, only in another language. If you don't learn the other language, I will see you at the end of your bed. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's so funny. And it's another one.
Aldi are really good at it.
Are they?
Specsavers are really
McDonald's
good
are
at it.
pretty good at it
McDonald's
as well.
are good at it. Like,
Yeah.
there's lots of brands that are understanding the value, and I guess that's where my business has
Yeah.
grown from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sense of humour nowadays is just. I mean, I don't want to say it's stupid because it's not, but it's just it's very like it's light-hearted, and you want to be able to relate to. The companies obviously want to be able to relate to the audiences nowadays, and that's the best way to do it is to connect on on a humour level.
Funny, that's an interesting name. That.
That's why that was intentional.
Yeah, no, I was feeding off of it. You're
Oh, I
supposed to
see.
bounce off each other there.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as smooth as you wanted. You got there though.
You said something. I responded.
Something like that.
I'm joking.
That's how it works.
But yeah, so
Let's go back to
go
that.
back to the start of Connect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I rekindled that relationship with Brandon, and initially the goal was during lockdown, I'm going to sell some adverts into your content. You've got 1 million people that are following you, and you've got a load of viewers. I'm going to sell some ads in, and then when COVID's done, I'll go back and I'll carry on working at Inc. I don't know whether he'll appreciate me sharing numbers, but within 3 months, I think we generated quite a substantial
Just say
amount.
just say a lot. You don't have to say
Yeah.
the
You don't have to- if you don't
We
want
get the
to-
gist of it. Yeah.
quite a substantial amount of money. We're talking hundreds of thousands. And I thought, oh shit, the commission I'm making off this one deal would take me like a long time to earn that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what am I?
What are you
the
doing?
fuck am I doing?
I'm in the wrong business.
And then, so then I had like this eureka moment. I was like, hang on, all of these people blowing up on social media, they're fucking amazing at making content, but they have no idea how to get in touch with these brands and basically sell themselves. And selling yourself to a brand, it's not easy. You can't just go to a brand and
I
say,
know.
hey
It's
McDonald's,
difficult.
hey
Yeah.
McDonald's, I want you to sponsor my podcast. Cool. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You need someone in between.
You
to
need
get
someone
that
in
connect.
between to sell that, and unfortunately, a lot of creators aren't able to sell themselves. Why? One, they're not able to. Two, if they are able to, it comes across quite cheesy or tacky to
Yeah.
be selling yourself. Like usually, if you're big enough to get a sponsor, you've probably got an agent or a manager that's getting in the middle of there and organising that for you. So it's difficult, and I realised that there was a massive gap there. Obviously, you've got the likes of YMU, WME, etc., the big dog talent agents that have been around for a long time, managing your Dwayne Johnsons, your Kevin Harts, those sorts of big talents. I saw the model they had, and I thought, I can apply this. And again, most of the biggest and most successful business ideas are just replications of past businesses that have done well in a different format.
Modernising.
Well, it's like, what is would the phrase the USP, would that be relevant at all in the idea that, you know, if you're wanting to find, like we're saying we want you to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Why? Well, we give you our USP because we're a podcast, just like hundreds of thousands of other podcasts out there, and you've got to give them like a reason as to why you're different now. So like you're saying with
What
companies, what do you bring? So it's like companies are, as you said, like very similar or the same as in the past, but they bring it into modern day, and in order to bring it into modern day, you've got to have a USP.
Correct, and I guess our USP was that we're a management agency, but for social stars. So this is a new wave of celebrity, and I have no doubt that in 10 years' time, our traditional celebrities will just be people that have grown off of the back of socials.
Yeah, 100%.
There will be a massive switch in that, and you can see like Hollywood's dying.
Yeah.
Hollywood is declining. They're not making any new films. It's all sequels.
remakes.
Why? Because they don't want to take a risk.
Yeah.
And that's something that Brandon talks a lot about. Is he's come from a production side. He wants to make TV shows. He wants to make movies. People aren't putting the budget into movies anymore because they're scared that they're going to spend 100 mil and get zero return. Which I get it. Like, it's daunting.
Well, you're seeing it. You're seeing it with these massive films coming out.
They're flop.
Just not making. Not making.
And these
the
are films with major actors. Right?
Well, that's the only reason the major actors are in them.
Yeah.
To try and sell it.
Is to sell them. Yeah, I mean the only company that I know, realistically, outside of the realm of like animation, is A24.
But A24 again are the new version of Hollywood. Right?
I agree. That's
their
what
USP.
They brought films
YouTubers.
from the 90s and the 80s. Exactly. And that's why I agree with you. But that is what's
they're funding YouTube shows into movies. Yeah, it's mad. And that's where the future of
the Raka Twins did something over there.
They did a massive production, and I think it won an award. No?
Yeah, I can't remember what the award was, but
it was a horror film.
Yeah, it was they like a hand that they held on to.
Oh, what's it called? I should know this.
Yeah, you are the movie geek.
No, it was on Netflix. It was. Don't know.
Anyway, should we move on?
Anyway,
I'm
going to say it in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're saying 20 minutes. That's fine. So I then said to Brandon, like, you're going, like, getting DMs from all these people and like influencers and whatever. Like, set me up with them. Like, refer me. Like, I can start a business from this. And I'm very grateful for the fact that he did. He introduced me to 2 or 3 people, one of which was Forms, after he blew up, if that makes sense. So Brandon coached and helped Forms to make his first videos, and off the back of that, Forms got some traction. I actually think he didn't go viral for like 30 days. He just kept pumping it, and one day, video went viral, ka-ching, suddenly he's created a career for himself, and he's grafted so hard to get himself to the position that he is in now. An ambassador for Pepsi, ambassador for Tottenham Hotspur, ambassador for the NFL.
Yeah, he was there.
I saw he was there recently. Yeah, he was just out there in Nashville, I think, or no, Kansas City. That's
They went
to the Kansas game.
I know someone else that was there as well. That's sort of the stories.
So NFL's blowing up now.
NFL's blowing up.
Had it in
I see it everywhere.
Yeah,
I think
we had it in
they've
São Paulo.
really changed their marketing strategy because
they're working with a lot of influencers,
they're working with
which is why a lot of people are
they're trying to go more global as well.
Yeah,
they've just come to Brazil. They've had their first ever
same
one
with
in São Paulo.
WWE, NFL, WWE, both in the last year have realised we need to go global, otherwise we're going to fall behind.
Yeah,
100%.
Agree. So he introduced me to a couple of guys. My roster went to maybe 5 people. I started working with those 5. Those 5 started recommending me to other people. Those 5 turning to 10, turning to 20.
Yeah.
I got to 20 and I was like, oh, fuck. That's a lot of people. I can't manage them.
Bring someone else.
And funnily enough, I put a message into a boys group chat, literally just all the lads. I said, anyone fancy coming and doing some admin for me for a couple of weeks? I'll pay you. Let me know. And this boy that I was relatively close with, we hung out quite a bit, but I wouldn't say he was one of my best mates. Sent a message going oh mate, like I literally quit my property job today, absolutely hate it, love to come and
That's crazy.
love to come and work with
That's
you,
such a weird time.
see what it is, right? He came to my flat, we did some emails, did some bits and pieces. He was like, yeah, love it, this is sick. Fast forward, obviously today, he's my right hand man, like we do a load of stuff together.
Adam.
That's Adam.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I'm talking about Josh.
Oh, gosh, no.
Adam, I've known Adam since I was 3.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
can talk about him afterwards. But
I
no,
wasn't sure which one you were
Josh
talking
is he's head of new business. He is an absolute genius when it comes up with like just. It's not just about finding the brands. It's about actually understanding the brand's needs and being able to offer them something that actually makes sense. Like a lot of people will just go in with some outrageous proposals of like, yeah, we need £1 million for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really nice, but your proposal is shit.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people that pitch me on a weekly basis, whether it's them thinking I'm like the sole owner of Eastbourne or whatever and trying to pitch me something, or just for Connect or one of my influencers.
Yeah.
And I see the pitch and I'm like,
No.
Yeah.
no, it's not even no. It's like, where have you even like woken up? Like, have you woken up on
Is it like, how have you
Mars?
put this together?
Like, how is that even like a potential for something? And I think that that's something you can't teach.
Yeah.
Like, you either know how to add value to people or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to add value, then you sell.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why salesmen have a really tacky and like slimy reputation, is because there's 2 types of salespeople. You've got a salesperson that is absolutely desperate, banging down doors. I need to sell, I need my commission. Or you have a salesperson that is really laid back, understands the market, is extremely knowledgeable, can answer anything that anyone throws his way. If someone says to Josh, X, Y, and Z about social media, this is why I don't want to invest in that specific thing, he will have an answer as to why that's not true.
Okay.
And that's what sets, I guess, us apart. And me and Josh have been training people from the start, is we teach people how to actually build and maintain relationships rather than just selling. I think a lot of agencies, whether they're talent management, whether they're agencies selling billboards or whatever, it's not specific to my industry,
Yeah.
but they try and get a quick deal. They will try and grab as much cash as possible without building a relationship, without actually giving a shit about the client. You know, we just won a contract with Disney to create a load of social media content for all of their new film releases. It's a major contract. It's a big deal. It's one of the biggest consumer brands in the world, right? That
It's crazy.
deal came from 2.5 years of grind.
Yeah.
Working on multiple Disney campaigns, not as their agency, just with them,
Yeah.
to the point where they reached out to us and said, we've loved working with you, but we've never actually done something like official.
Yeah. So like you've been in the back and they've actually gone, you've done consistent, good quality work. That's impressive.
And that's the power of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like we take our time with things. I like to wine and dine people. I like to treat people how I would want to be treated as a client.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be some sort of value exchange. I've got to be making that person's life easier,
Yeah.
whether that be just like understanding how they have to report things back to their boss. It's a super simple thing. I might be sending over a fuckload of information to someone, and they're then going to have to spend 3 days chopping that up into a format that actually their boss wants to see it. So why am I not asking them, oh, how do you report to your boss?
Yeah.
Oh, we do this and this and this. Okay, cool, I'll do it for you. No
Some
problem.
mutual respect. What
Like,
you want someone to make your life easier
Little-
while helping.
exactly.
and-
Little things that you can do to make the person that you're working with's life easier, that encourages them and motivates them to want to work more with you. And that's when budgets get bigger, opportunities get bigger. And that's pretty much the motto that I've lived by while setting up this business. Josh joined me at 20 influencers. We got to about 35 together. We then thought, right, we need an office space. I was completely all in on the fact that I wanted an office. A lot of people that I was speaking to, whether they be mentors, friends, family, less so family actually, said, you're mad getting an office, everyone's working from home. Why would you want to have that expense? You need to take out a long lease and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, I want an office. I want a hub where I can see what people are doing. Pretty candidly, I've got a lot of friends that work from home. They fuck around. They don't do any work.
Yeah.
Am I aware of that? Yes. Do I want that for my business? No. Like, it's my money at the end of the day, and I want to make sure that people are delivering. Do I let people work odd days from home? Yeah, of course. Like, I'm lenient. But I was very set on getting this office, creating a hub where our clients could come and meet us, and we actually felt like a proper business rather than just two guys from their bedroom.
Yeah. Also, it's in your name, so if anything, it goes back to you. So people are not, applying to. That's what I mean. In terms of people are messing up with it, as I said, it's your name, your money you're putting into it.
Exactly.
That's where this comes back to.
Exactly. So we got that office, hired 2 more people, and it's all just expanded from there. Like fast forward to today, we've got 180 influencers exclusively that we work with. I don't really like the word influencers. I'm using it for the purpose of the show. But I would say that.
What would you call them?
I would call them creatives.
Yeah.
I don't even like creators. I like creatives. Like these are people that dedicate their life to making content. Put a camera up in your house and try to speak to it, and you'll see how fucking hard that is.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No. I was speaking to someone about that the other day. She does like football print. I think she works with you, Lyrian Sons. She does like football freestyle content. So I was speaking to her, and we were doing some filming. We put a camera, and she's good in front of a camera.
Yeah.
I've done podcasting on fine. We put a camera in front of us, went to speak, and went, "What do we actually just say?"
Yeah.
It is very daunting having a camera just in front of you.
And then that's just the obvious bit, but think about all the things that go on behind the scenes. So who's coming up with the idea for the video? Who's buying all the props for the video? Who's strategizing when the video is going to get posted? Who's filming it? Who's editing it? Like,
so much.
That's just probably like 6 things. I could probably list you 25 things that go into the back of it. Like I've got creators that will have full-time script writers. They'll have people that are working around the clock coming up with ideas for their videos. They'll have editors on the go constantly, both in the UK and abroad. They'll have people that are their videographers. Their videographers then cancel on them on days of shoots. They then have to find new videos.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that go into
a
it.
really interesting tactic. I like the fact you mentioned outside the UK as well. Is people hire people depending on the time zone. I've seen that. So an example I saw of this was when Logan Paul had an English editor. So he records during the day, send it to the editor. The editor will wake up in the morning. By the time Logan Paul wakes up, it's already been uploaded.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
interesting.
just smart using that. Yeah.
I think also that there's a lot of
Cuts a day and a half, basically.
there's a lot of clever things that you can do. There are plenty of creators that obviously sit there and edit all their content themselves, and I'm very admirable. Is
I
that the
used
right
to
word?
do that for a year.
Of that?
sucked.
Yeah.
But I recommend, like, anyone that's signed to me, the first thing they tell them is, right, we're going to earn you some money so that you can build a team around you, because you cannot do this all yourself. And if you think you can, that's fine, but I guarantee at some point you're going to burn out.
Yeah. Realistically, having people around you, even if it's just a support, is going to help you.
Always,
because I think, as you said, at some point you're going to burn out, and if not, it will hit you at some point.
Yeah.
So I think
It's what helps us on the podcast.
Yeah, I think
How
knowing
many
that
of us are there now? What, 10?
Yeah.
Like, if
and
it
even
was,
that sometimes pushes.
Even that's a push sometimes, because obviously
clips
a lot of people have
we can't.
full-time jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a full-time job.
Same.
Like, I can only really spend Wednesday doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I text you guys at like 10 o'clock at night sometimes, because I've been like doing some stuff at home, and then I've gone, oh shit, I need to do this for you guys.
Or sometimes it's like clips as well.
Yeah.
If one of us can't do it, then the other one might be at work. Someone might, we might send a message into the chat. People might not respond because they're at work or something.
I'm hoping Lloyd's getting 2 days ahead on clips right now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
another thing you were saying, like with the, like, you mentioned like five or six things and said there's 25, but it's like, not there's no one thing that's more important than the other, and that you could, there are arguments to say, well, obviously, if you haven't got a camera, you can't do it. But like, if you're missing a videographer, what do you do? If you're missing an editor, it's not going to go out. If you're missing someone to strategize when it needs to get uploaded, it's going to get uploaded at the wrong time. So it's like every little thing, even though what we see, like, for this podcast, what you see is me talking and the screen. So most people think the most important thing is me being sat here talking. Well, no, everything's equally as important, and without those, it's interesting that everybody sees sort of three things, and it's just
It's even
much
deeper. It's like, who's organising to rent this room?
Literally,
who's paying for the lights? Who's paying? Like, a lot of the things that people just don't think about. And another thing people don't think about: insurance.
Yeah.
As an influencer, if you're doing shoots, you need insurance to cover yourself for those shoots.
Yeah.
It's thousands of pounds a year. Like, there's so many things.
Especially international
That's not even
insurances.
something I've
And we
thought
can
about.
list and list and list and list.
Yeah.
How long's a piece of string, right? So I hold creators a very high I don't know what the word is, like
Regard.
regard,
Yeah.
because they always get the most stick, and it's always the comments of like, oh, get a real job,
Yeah.
you don't blah 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 blah.
Everyone can do a podcast.
Everyone can
Yeah.
do a podcast.
Yeah.
Cool, try it. Like,
Yeah, literally.
If you're gonna say it, do
If
it.
you're really, if you're really that like interested in proving us wrong, do it.
exactly. And also, most people these days, like, if you had a kid tomorrow, in a couple of years' time, it would be growing up saying, I want to be a YouTuber, or I
Yeah.
want to be an
Well,
influencer.
they already are. They already are.
Oh,
I-
yeah. I've got cousins the same.
I mean, when I was going through school, I fancied being a YouTuber as well. But I'm only 24 now.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I think
even
I was
more.
probably the same.
Yeah.
I'm 21, but I was probably the same.
So everyone wants to be it.
Yeah.
Not everyone can. Not everyone has the ability to do it. If I had to give some advice, the most successful creators are the creators that operate as if they are a business. They don't try and act like a lone wolf. Being a lone wolf in this industry can only get you so far,
Yeah.
because there's only so many relationships you can manage. Tell me how it's possible. Say I'm a creator and I've got loads of followers. I wake up at, let's say, 9 o'clock. Most of them wake up at like 1 p.m. Say I wake up at like 9 o'clock. I get ready. I then go out to film, right? I may spend till 3, 4 o'clock filming.
Mm.
I then get home. What am I doing?
Editing, planning for the next shoot,
Yeah, by,
organising everything else.
Yeah.
by that time it's 7 a.m. So you
Yeah.
get 2 hours sleep.
Where's your time for your emails?
Yeah.
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 Or you're just
Where's,
all the
where's your time
just
for
eat.
organising the shoot for
Yeah.
next day?
Yeah.
Where's your time to think about uploading? When's your time to think about marketing? When's your time to think about doing your invoices?
But let alone just yourself as well.
Yeah,
Your
just like
own
your actual
time,
life,
sleeping,
yeah. And-
eating, like
Exactly.
social,
How
family.
how can
Yeah.
you operate on your own? You can't. It's a job that requires a team.
Yeah.
And the difficulty is you can't have a team from the start.
Exactly.
So you almost have to do all the hard graft to get yourself into a position where you're earning enough money to hire the team.
Mm.
And by that point, you probably needed a team 3 months prior.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
It's just a cycle.
the stress of it.
And that's
And-
what I guess that 3 months is what pushes out the people that can't do it.
99%
Yeah.
of people will just quit.
Yeah.
I've had so many people, and I'll give an example of someone that didn't fucking quit that I'm so proud of. It's a guy called Mick Medeiros. You'll probably meet him. He'll come to an Eastbourne game at some point. Irish lad, messaged me on LinkedIn, hey mate, I don't know what I need to do. I've been making content for 2 years or whatever. I've got 5,000 followers. Will you mentor me? Like, I just wanna be better. I want to earn money. I want to turn this into a career for myself. It's the only thing I care about. It's the only thing I want to do when I grow up. Like, this is it. Like, I'm fully committed. And I get hundreds of these messages a week. But there was something about him that, I don't know, he sent me a show reel and I just thought, oh, he's got a bit of charisma about him. He seems like a nice lad. And I said to him, here's my number, give me a call. He called me. I spoke to him for an hour. I gave him a load of advice. And one of the things I said to him was like, I hope you got a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said at the end of the call, he hung up and he said, I promise you, mate, I will do all of this and I will make it. And like, a lot of people are just all talk. It's just
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
right? He grafted for 6 months. He got to a position where I was comfortable to work with him. He got like 50,000 followers or something. We signed him. He's been signed to us for a year. Presented at the FA Cup final, Paris Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Major opportunities. He's
Mm.
killing it. He's earning loads of money. Okay, I know he doesn't care about that, but he cares about the opportunities more so.
Yeah.
But he is an example of, and he hasn't even got to even a fraction of his potential. He's maybe got 100,000 followers now.
Yeah.
He is somebody that listened, took advice, did what he needed to do, and also didn't give up.
Yeah.
His videos weren't getting views for like 3 months. Getting like 1,000 views, 500 views, 200 views, 5,000 views. Then the odd one would get 100k, and back to
Yeah.
5,000. That is so demotivating. So many people just quit. He grafted that through. He treated everything with integrity, and actually, as a nice person, that helps as well because it means people actually want to work with you. But imagine if every week he'd call me up and he'd be like, "Your advice isn't working."
Yeah, exactly.
This-
Yeah.
I'd just be like, "Mate, fuck off."
But also,
Yeah.
I think it's that first step of even just getting in contact with you and just going, look, this is not gonna happen overnight, but actually just going to somebody who they think can actually give you the advice,
Yeah.
and then taking the advice. Because you can give advice to 1,000 people, and maybe 2 people take it,
If you
and it could work. But I think even just the first stage of reaching out to a lot of people sometimes just won't want to accept this is not working. So let's go to someone who they think can make it work.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can just go, if I keep doing it, it will work. Of course, there's still a chance, but actually looking for someone to mentor you, and you're not going to get an overnight success, but it's going to happen, and that's the proof you just pointed out.
Yeah, and like you said, with the whole like the giving up thing, some people will go like, you need advice, you need real advice, and some people will still choose the people that is going to give them what they want to hear, which isn't always what you need. You need sometimes
push yourself.
100%, and you're not going to get pushed by people going blowing smoke up your ass, basically.
Yeah.
I've had young kids call me that have told me they're starting a management agency and signing their first 8 talents and blah blah blah, and I've given them some like proper serious advice. Even people that are deeper down the line, like a year in, they've got this many talents, they're not able to keep everyone happy, they can't find new deals, this sort of thing. And I give these people advice, and I feel like it's just in one ear and out the other. Like,
that's always the worry.
You've come to somebody who clearly has experience in what you're doing, clearly done an all right job, you would say.
Right, don't undersell yourself.
So if I give some advice, take it and roll with it. But that is
also they've come to you for the advice, so why wouldn't you take it?
That's
Because I think they're just hoping someone bails them out. It's like that's not how it's going to work.
A lot of people, when they ask for advice, almost have in their head what they want to do. They're soundboarding what they want to do with somebody that they think has experience, and therefore, if I said the same as him, he's like, "Fucking hell, I'm so good at this. I know what I'm doing." If I say the complete opposite, his head's probably gone to, "Oh, fuck this guy."
Exactly. Exactly.
That's not what I want.
They just don't. They don't want to accept the truth.
They're asking advice because they want to hear what they want to hear, not what they need.
And I've had some harsh calls with mentors and people that basically told me, "No, you're not right. That's not the right way to go about it. This, that, and the other." And I act with humility. If someone's telling me I'm wrong, I will genuinely look at that scenario and
evaluate it.
Because it's possible we can all be wrong at some point. Of course, there can be things
There's
that are different.
plenty of times that I'm wrong. Like, I like to think I'm always right, but I'm not. And that's the case of, like, no one's ever always right.
So I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm never wrong.
I could be wrong, but I'm not on this.
So
I've lost my train of
thought.
thought.
Sorry, my bad.
It's his fault.
About being humble.
So like coming and asking for help is only a good thing if you're actually if you're actually going to take on board the advice that someone gives you. Don't go and ask somebody for help if you're just going to ignore what they said, because it doesn't make any sense. You're just wasting that person's time. But asking for help is one of the most powerful things you can do. Like, there's an example of you coming into my office every week. What's the benefit of that to you? Am I paying you? No. But you're going to learn, you're going to upskill yourself, you're going to get better in certain things, understand certain industries, and that's an exchange of value. You understand that, yes, you may be doing a few extra days of work, but you're building on yourself in your future, and and it will benefit you.
In a way,
at some point, you will go somewhere for something, and someone will ask you something about my industry, and you'll be able to answer it, and they'll be very impressed, and you'll be like, "See, that's the reason why I was meant to."
But also, he's building a rapport with you, which is important. Building a connection with somebody who has more knowledge in certain areas and does more kind of separate stuff. But I think still
especially
involved.
because he's got a podcast, right? So obviously,
Good point.
and like where you're at now with the podcast, I'm sure you want to get all the way up here. It's a case of, my business is the best place you can sit to learn how to market your podcast better, how to get better guests, on how to do all these different things.
I think just getting you on is just a massive step in that.
I agree.
It's just
I think you should ask those questions, like when you come on Tuesdays.
Well, I will do in the future. I think I won't be in, unfortunately, next Tuesday, but we can talk about that after the podcast. That's not for the podcast.
It's one of those things. I think
sick already.
It's one of those.
I'm in Morocco.
I'm telling you,
sorry.
it's one of those things where I think, as you said before, building a connection with somebody is extremely important.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that connection, realistically, you're not really going to get anywhere. I wanted to just ask as well. You talked about the music management. How did that kind of come about? Kind of just moving from where we are with sport.
Right. So try not to get the.
I'll move that in a bit.
I've got ADHD, so my legs do like.
Don't go around the same. I can't stop moving.
So, listen, I represent quite a few music artists that are up and coming, that have made it. For example, the likes of Sam Ryder, we do a lot of stuff with on the social side. Forms, a guy called Vic, who is just like one of my favourite artists at the moment. I compare him to like the new wave of like a Dave. He's
Nice.
a lyricist. His flows are cold. He's just an all round, like just really nice person as well, and that's important for me as well. Plenty of artists, like I work with Talia Storm. She does a lot of singing. So many people. Anyway, so I went to a lot of record meetings with these guys, and I basically realised that the record game traditionally is you take 10 people, throw them all at a wall. One of them will stick and make them their money, and all the other 9 will get forgotten about. And essentially, just like you're playing with people's lives. It's similar to the football industry. It's like you've got all these young kids that are ridiculous at football, yet they don't make it. They just get forgotten about. One makes it, and the rest of them are forgotten about and treated like shit. Exactly. So it's the same sort of principle. And I met this guy called Giovanni, who worked traditionally at a lot of like major labels, and we basically shared the same thing, which was like it's not fair. Like it's not nice to treat these artists in that way. And a lot of the things, if you follow me online or if you watch my videos and stuff like that, it's all about being nice to people. Like I genuinely feel like the reason I'm successful is because I treat people in a good way, and a lot of people don't do that. Which is surprising, to be honest. Like I have time for everybody. I don't feel like you should talk to just because somebody is in a lower position than you or whatever. I don't feel like you should talk to them in any other way than you would talk to one of your best friends, a colleague, etc., etc.
It's something I've noticed just being in the office a few times now. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
100%.
So, and like again, you can watch my things. Like I give away a holiday every single month to someone in my company, just for being them.
Nice.
I gave away a holiday to some random person on social media last month. Girl's going to Barcelona next weekend. At Christmas last year, every deal they got done, I made a sack of presents and they could choose a present. I had iPhones in there, iPads, Apple Watches, everything. Like it was pretty lit. So yeah, I feel like, especially in business, you should treat your staff in a way that they actually want to turn up to work. Because one of my friends came into my office the other day and he went, "Oh fuck! Everyone's so happy."
it's like noticeable.
It's an office job, and
It's
like everyone's
noticeable.
No.
And I was like, "Yeah." He's
Should
like,
it not be like that?
He's like, "Oh, my office is so depressing. Like no one wants to be there." I was like, "Yeah, because I don't treat these people like they're a piece of shit on the bottom of my shoe.
You respect
big,
everyone.
Big CEO, blah blah blah. No one's going to listen to you. No one's going to do as you say.
No one's going to stay.
No
as
one's
well.
going to stay.
Yeah.
It's that mutual
Our
respect.
staff retention rate is over 90%.
That's ridiculous.
That's
crazy.
That's extreme.
And most of those people have been in my business for over 3 or 4 years. Why? Because I treat them well. They get messages every single day of the week. I get forwarded them, and thanks for doing it, everybody. From different recruiters and different influencer companies, basically saying, "We've got higher salaries, we've got this, we've got that, we can tempt you with this, that, and the other." And none of them budge because, again, I don't treat them in a way that they would need to. I feel like everything that I do is above and beyond. It's probably pretty stupid. We had a potential opportunity to sell at some point, and they looked into what we were doing, and they just said, like, "You're wasting money. Like, you could be twice as profitable." And I said, "I don't give a shit." Because none of the profit would be here if I didn't act in the way that I was acting.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're profitable should be good enough.
Exactly.
There's businesses that run for 10 years that aren't profitable. So for me, it's not about how much money can we earn. It's about how can we get bigger and carry on doing all the things that I want to do whilst also, like, just fucking growing. Like, we're at 35 people now.
You're one of the first talent agencies to also have an agency section, if I'm not mistaken. Or...
No, I'm sure there's a couple of companies that do it. We built out an in-house agency because we basically realised that we worked on so many campaigns on a monthly basis that we could just run them ourselves.
Yeah.
Without losing crazy margins. Like, X agency will win a contract with McDonald's. Before that agency even allocates the money to my influencers, or any influencer for that matter, they've already taken 50%.
Yeah.
Because
you know,
because they need
Yeah.
to have a strategy team, a legal team, all these different things. We have it in-house now. The money goes straight to the creators. Yes, we make a margin for the strategy and for the legal and for all those things, but it is a fraction of what these other agents are taking, and therefore we're able to earn our talents more money. We've retained with Aldi, the supermarket, which is awesome. Same with 2K. They make 2K NBA and all those different video games. Disney, I told you about, which is super exciting. We just signed off a deal today with a zip company called YKK. Check your zip; it's probably on there.
Yep. There's YKK.
what am I looking for?
Does it say
It says
YKK?
YKK on it.
YKK.
Don't know, maybe.
Check your zip.
Mine says YKK.
Check the.
That's what zip
part.
thing.
Yeah.
Never done a podcast, so we're just checking
What?
it.
YKK.
YKK,
So
yeah.
what you don't know about YKK, and shout out to them because we just started working with them today, and it's actually really, it's actually.
You're talking about the zip? Or you're talking about the zip?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about, guys. Yeah, they're one of these companies that, if you go home and check all your zips, probably they're all YKK zips.
Yeah.
Yet nobody really knows who they are.
No, I so you didn't.
Exactly.
So
So that's what we're going to work on, and I hope, if we've done our job correctly, over the next coming months, up until January for now, you'll see a lot of content about YKK, and hopefully we create some interesting bits and pieces for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's loads of stuff that we're working on.
impressive. Very.
Both from the
Yeah,
agency
really
side and the talent side. It's basically just a benefit of being signed exclusively with us, is that we have access to these deals which no other agents have.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And it's growing massive. It's growing rapidly. Like, tell me another. We launched the agency 12 months ago. Tell me another agency that has Disney, Aldi, 2K, like all of these.
Within
That's
12
crazy.
months, yeah.
That's really crazy, you know.
I'd like to see someone try and find it
like
even.
fair play.
Yeah.
And that's been a lot of hard work and graft from the whole team. But mainly just taking everything we've learned in the last 4 years, understanding social, hired an amazing in-house strategist, amazing lawyer, amazing designers, and just like we work really hard on making sure that the quality and the output that we put out, we're proud of. Like, I never want to send something to a client and think we could have probably spent a bit more time on that. I'd rather push a deadline back and be like, I'm really sorry, we don't feel comfortable with how this is right now, and I'd rather you not work with us than me present you some shit or give us another week.
Fair.
Yeah.
But, I mean, timing-wise, there's a lot more we could cover. I know that for a fact. I mean, we've hardly touched on Eastbourne and stuff like that. So maybe we do that in the future.
I can do another 10-15.
Yeah, another 10-15.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Let's touch on Eastbourne then. The club.
Come on, you Borough!
The club that I work for, and
I don't think I've ever been so passionate about a football club, by the way.
oh, it's
like-
great.
If you come to a game, you'll hear me screaming.
Yeah.
I get really angry at the linos and the refs.
And the goalkeepers.
And the goalkeepers. I'm a goalkeeper myself, so like I know what it's like to get shouted at. I just know it's horrible. So
Yeah.
when I'm standing behind the goalkeeper, I'm like, God, got to give him a bit of abuse. Not in a horrible way.
No.
I was fully expecting to be like, oh, I know what it's like to be shouted at. Like, I see the goalkeeper there. Like, when I'm at a game behind them, I'm not going to shout at them. But you're just like,
no, I completely
No,
expect it.
it's more like, oh, he keeps your shoelace. Oh, he keeps. Like, it's so annoying.
No, it's just battering
It's
them
battering
constantly.
Anyway, so whether or not an owner should be doing that, who knows? I'm not that significant of an owner. But it's a lot of fun. I genuinely care about it a lot.
Yeah.
The social media genuinely like puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. Obviously, we want to do well. We want to be pushing at the top. We haven't put money in as a family to lose it. Like
exactly.
A lot of people in the fan forums, when results don't go their way, or we lose players to other teams or whatever, it's always like, blame the management team. Okay,
Yeah.
do you really think the management team is sitting here plotting how they can fuck the club up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
You've put money in it. It's it's a business for you as well.
So-
You're not going to make a loss on it.
Exactly. So it's a case of, we want the best for the club. everything that we've inputted so far, and I genuinely have seen in like the forums and stuff like that, there is a lot of appreciation starting to come through now, especially like obviously the results are coming our way. But
Yes.
like just
Good
foundationally and structure wise, like if you I'm sure nobody knew about the position the club was in prior, but it wasn't in a great state, and the fact that we've managed to take it over and make it stable, both as a business and a football club, is in my opinion extremely impressive in such a short time. We're the most followed team in the National League South,
I think
all the way up to League Two, I believe.
To League Two, yeah.
There is nobody even close to us.
No.
Um,
I guess,
the only club I would actually, that's a caveat, the only club that's more followed than us in the non-league would be Hashtag. They've got
yeah,
a lot of followers.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was saying, Dulwich is fairly, or is that more just like individual? Like Hamlet would be more.
How many followers they got?
Oh, I don't know actually. I'm gonna have a look.
Because on Instagram,
In the National League,
100K.
in the National League South, we're
TikTok.
definitely the most followed.
TikTok, we've got 50, 60.
Hamlet's 20. Yeah, Hamlet's smaller, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Twitter,
that's
And
massive.
we're growing followers every single
Yeah.
day. Like I looked at the impressions on the Eastbourne account the other day, and it's like 7 million impressions the last month. So,
Blimey.
Oh yeah, you guys are on 111K. That's
we had a video that did 30 million, got reposted by every single page under the sun. Memes are puberty, Lab Bible, you name it, they
Yeah.
reposted it.
With the Pierce Bird shot we talked about.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
big up Birdie, when's he back?
I saw him on Crutches.
1.2 million. 30 million. Yeah, I'm just
30 million.
Yeah, 30 million, 1.2. Yeah, it's by far one of the
That
biggest.
touch as well from the Diarra cake for the second one that's pinned. It's filthy.
No, we're gonna look at.
But yeah, we'll talk because this is not good podcasting.
So yeah, obviously we took over
Oh, yeah, that's
last
good.
season. It wasn't what we expected nor wanted.
Mhm.
It was actually fucking stressful and horrible, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like no,
Well, the great escape after.
the great escape. I mean,
Yeah.
we won like 13 on the bounce or something stupid.
Lost 1 in 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
In order to basically not get relegated.
Survive
We
Yeah.
were in the relegation zone the entirety of the season, pretty much. We
and
won
still survive.
we won our first game. We then drew the next game, and then we just lost.
Was it until like November?
Yeah, till November. I think the amount of points that we've got now, bear in mind we played 8 games,
Total.
is the same amount of points that we got until end of November last year, or something like that.
We looked it up.
So it was a rough patch.
Yeah.
That's a bit. Yeah.
It was horrible.
That
Listen,
must be very like.
And it's
quiet.
the start
in
of
terms,
September.
in terms of
Yeah.
in terms of blame, like I know a lot of people pointed fingers and this that, and the other. Like you've got to understand, we took over the club, we invested a lot of money into it. We hired. It wasn't to do with me, but there was a lot of hires that talked a good game
Mhm.
about what they were going to do. They were experienced. They came from big clubs. Like these aren't just people that are talking the talk. They've walked the walk as well. And they didn't deliver results, and that was it. And halfway through the season, we switched it up and we brought in Adam Murray, who's our current manager. And
Super Adam Murray.
He's done a brilliant job building. Like, remember, he adopted a team
Yeah.
that wasn't his.
Yeah.
Mm.
He didn't. Not that he didn't like the players, but he didn't select any of the players.
Yeah,
They were just
right.
there, and he had to do what he had to do with them. And he's crafted a team over the last 6 months, which includes quite a bit of the boys from last season,
Yeah.
but a load of new faces as well that he's obviously worked with in different clubs. And the boys are really putting together. I think the main thing that I've noticed this season is the actual belief.
There's such a drive to win.
Yeah.
Like, they have
No,
each
but
other's
even just like
backs.
talking to the boys, like when you say to one of the guys, "Where do you think we'll finish?"
Oh,
There's no
yeah.
hesitation. We're winning the league.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Yeah.
hesitation. Now,
That's what you need.
whether
That runs for
whether
a
that
club.
will happen or not, listen, please God, I pray every single night that will fucking happen. That would be the most immense result ever. But
That's what
whether
you-
it
that's what
happens
you-
or
that's what
not,
you want,
we're
really.
going to be up there because of that
So
mentality.
you're in
National League South.
South.
I mean, you have to look at the as results like Truro on the weekend, and then also Hornchurch when we won 0.
We would have lost 10 games, 4-1,
after
3-1,
30 minutes.
2-1
Yeah.
last season. And the problem last season as well is we actually didn't concede that badly. We'd go into a game and we'd go like 1-0 down, and then the heads would drop, and then we just
Yeah.
wouldn't get back, and it would just be like a 2-0 done and out. We wouldn't, like when we were in front of goal, we'd never take our chances. Like the amount of crossbars, posts out the stadium, completely like corner flag shots and you're thinking like, obviously as an out bystander, you're thinking like, come on boys, like get it in there. but you don't realise the amount of pressure they're under, the wind. And actually, something that I didn't realise until I kicked a ball is these balls that they use in the National League South, they're fucking heavy as shit.
They're completely different to a Premier League.
I could barely get the ball off the fucking ground for a goal kick, genuinely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realise, like, a lot of the things, like, especially at Eastbourne, the amount of wind that
the
there is.
wind's crazy.
Trying to kick that ball far is a bloody
You
nightmare.
can see
the ball goes like
that, and then it kind of like just comes back.
Yeah, well, there's videos of people just kicking a ball and it will go behind them.
Yeah,
like, how's that even happening?
Exactly.
It's just
it's
ridiculous.
difficult. And, like, there's a lot of pressure. I just think, there's just an amazing feel around the club. Everybody's happy. Everyone's excited. We're going into games genuinely believing that we're going to win them, which is super important.
It's also the buzz on social media.
The buzz on social is great.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the comments are all positive right now, which is good. Really, really good to see.
And also the fans are amazing. Like, they sing their hearts out. They're loud. We get between 1,500 and 2,000 at a home game, which for a National League South team is
mental.
That's ridiculous.
What, spectators, sorry.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's really good.
That's a lot of
For that level, it's really good.
It's really good.
The average is around 500.
And then also we had like
our supporters forum, I think it's got like 3,500 people in now, and it had like 400 when we took over.
That's incredible.
So that shows you the power of social media.
Like 30, 35 people came all the way to Truro as well.
Truro, 35 people to Truro. You know, that's like in a coach. That is literally like a 2-day round trip.
Wow.
There's some people camping.
Camping in fields next to the ground.
Incredible.
Like, we've got some proper hardcores. Shout out to them, they're amazing. They all know who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, Eastbourne is just like, I'm buzzing to be a part of it. It's been my dad's dream genuinely to own a football club for as long as I can remember. He's always been talking about it. So the fact that he's managed to pull it off, and I'm just grateful that he's managed to intertwine me. And you talk about like serendipity and stuff like that. Like, if he went and bought a football club 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I would never have been in a position where I could potentially invest money into it. Everything's happened for a reason. My business has blown up. I've made a decent amount of money. And the opportunity came around with Eastbourne when my dad spoke about it with me. There wasn't even a hesitation. It's like, let's just fucking do it.
I mean, the way you talk about it just could tell you love the club. Like, you're severely passionate about it, and I think 100%. that is incredible.
That's literally what I was going to say. Like as I've said already, like, I don't watch football. It's not really my sort of thing. But listening to, like, it's so engaging listening to where you talk about the team because you're so clearly passionate about it. Yeah. Like, it's easy to shoot the facts and, you know, tell me that there's 2,000 people there or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, cool. But like, the way you're talking about it's like really engaging. It's actually
also, you can tell you actually support the club. It's very 100%. Different running a club if you don't actually have any care for it.
Yeah, literally.
Whereas if you actually love the club, you want the best for it, and you actually want to see them succeed. And I think that is the most important.
Do you think having your dad's as, you know, the owner, kind of having that kind of family vibe with it as well for you helps? Helps you kind of like bring that passion. You know, you're not just investing in the club; you're also investing in your dad's kind of dream as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to note as well that my dad is a serial entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. He's very good at what he does. He's extremely successful. He's built many businesses and helped many businesses grow and succeed. Whatever he says to me, 9 times out of 10, I think it's a good idea because I back him and I believe in him, and we have a relationship where it's vice versa. Like, when I came to him with the idea of Connect, I said, I'm going to go and get a bank loan to do this, and he went, no, don't waste your money on interest here, I'll give you the money. And I paid him back for it and whatever, and he owns he owns a 15% stake in the business today, which for what he put in is a crazy return of it. He's had his money back tenfold, I'm sure. So
you worked for him.
But that is the trust that a family relationship would build. And some people say, "Oh, that's nepotism or whatever," and you had a helping hand. I didn't. I built everything out. I was prepared to do it on my own. I was given a lifeline, whatever you want to call it, from a family member. But that is still the fact to this day. If I went out today, called my dad, said, right, let's get some money together and let's do this, I think it's going to be a big money earner. He'll get in with me because he may think the idea is shit, but he'll do it with me just because he knows that if I'm passionate and invested in something, it's probably a good idea.
It's paid off.
I got them to buy a load of Ethereum in lockdown. We made some money on that. That was good. But just lots of little things.
Yeah. It's like Bitcoin.
like crypto.
There was a point where Ethereum was like $3,500 a
Literally
coin.
was doing this.
It dropped to like
And
1,400 in lockdown, and we bought a load of it, and then we sold it when it went back up.
Yeah.
There's lots of little things that have happened in my life where you build trust. Obviously, he's my father, but having him as a mentor and being able to rely on him, be a phone call away and be like, I'm about to make a decision, what do you think? Or I'm in this situation and actually I don't really know how to deal with it. That's something that a lot of business owners don't talk about, is not knowing the answer.
Yeah.
I'm 25 years old. I don't fucking know the answer to everything.
Exactly.
It's not possible to know the answer to everything. I have to call people that have been through it, and I'll call my dad, or I'll call one of my mentors. I've got many. And I'll explain the situation, and 9 times out of 10, they've been through a similar experience themselves, and they can tell me, oh, I dealt with it this way, and actually it backfired on me, and you shouldn't do that, or I dealt with it this way, and it worked really well, you should do that. Sometimes I don't take the advice that they give me and use it, because sometimes I've sold myself an idea of how I'm going to deal with it anyway, but having these people around you that you can use as like a soundboard to bounce ideas off of. I'll give you another example. I want to take some more space out for the business in terms of like office space. I'm very go. Dad's like, hang on, bring it back a second. Let's just work out the numbers. Can we actually afford it?
Yeah.
And yeah, we can afford it. And I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew we could afford it, right?
Yeah.
But it's just having that logical person behind as well that slows you down and is just like, cool, let's just think about things.
So you don't
before
just
we
make
do
a rush decision, because there can be things.
and that's something that I definitely do a lot. Like as a young guy, I'm very like bam, let's do this, let's do that. And I have made mistakes in the past by acting too quickly.
Yeah.
But you can't learn this stuff.
Yeah.
You have to just have a scenario and deal with it.
Yeah.
I think if you said to somebody just kind of on that surface level in terms of, oh, you know, I run a business with my dad, I work with it, it's very, you could take it one way, but I think listening to you talk in terms of how you started and how you actually properly got into it, you've worked so hard to get to where you are now. And I think as much as you've had that help, it's about kind of, for me, it's also your kind of initiative to actually take this step and go, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I should be. I think that's very impressive.
My favourite person,
I agree.
not ever, but like one of my favourite people is Eddie Hearn.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that he gets a lot on social media especially is like, you're just running your dad's business, your dad built Matchroom,
Gets
blah,
that
blah,
so
blah, blah,
much,
blah.
Yeah.
And he came out on an interview, I don't know whether it was a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever, but I read it, and he basically said, cool, I got handed my dad's business, and it was here when I got it.
Yeah.
We're now up here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you think I've had to do to get it from there to there? If I handed that business to you 10 years ago, where would it be? Probably fucking bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
Very good point,
don't be jealous. Don't just because I was dealt a different hand to you. Don't take it from a perspective of jealousy. Don't have to congratulate me, but understand that there's a lot of work that goes into running and maintaining a business. Just because someone hands you a business, someone could die tomorrow and they hand you down a business in their will. Does that mean you're going to be able to run it successfully? Probably not. You probably have to sell it, because otherwise it will just crash and die.
Yeah, and take you down with it as well. So
Yeah, exactly. So
being able to survive is...
it's a very interesting thing, and it's something that I battled with for a long time, like working for my dad. I actually now take it as like, I'm so grateful for it to be able to. It's very hard to build trust these days, and I know 100% that I have full trust in him, and he has full trust in me.
That's amazing.
That's a brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant thing, honestly.
That's a kind of actually a really nice way to end the podcast.
I think so,
On a
yeah.
positive note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I normally end
But
on,
you ask when
you know,
you're-
I normally ask people, I know you've kind of said it, but I'll always ask someone kind of what's one piece of advice that you would say for anybody who wants to try and, you know, let's say start a business.
Yeah.
What would you say is kind of the most important thing that you've taken out of doing it? Always takes a second for someone to think.
No,
It can be anything.
it's because there's a lot of different angles you can go to that question.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say like, stick at it, keep grafting, work harder than everybody else, be the best at what you do, those sort of things. Genuinely, be nice. If you fuck people over, they will fuck you over. If you treat people not nicely, eventually they'll treat you not nicely. everything that we do, whether it's business, whether it's friends, whether it's dating, is all relationships. If you can't manage or handle relationships, if you can't treat people in a way that makes them feel good about themselves, then no one will ever like you, want to work with you, or build a relationship with you. Full stop. So, yeah, just be kind.
I rate that.
Yeah, that's an amazing place to finish on. Appreciate that. Thank you.
On that note, thank you very much, Benji, for coming on.
So welcome.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Great time.
Make sure to check out Connect and all its 180 influencers, or sorry, creatives.
Creatives. I love that word, creatives. I think
it's a good word.
Yeah, I
much
think
better word.
It gives more credit to the people that are like
100%.
doing
It's
the
a fucking
doing the
hard
work.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out Connect, but check out Eastbourne Borough more. So.
Eastbourne Borough.
Big up the boys.
Big up Borough. And we'll see you guys. Actually, check out all the other shows that we do. You know, we've got like 4 or 5 a week now. I do struggle to keep track sometimes. But, you know, check out all the clips.
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd behind the camera has been doing them whilst we've been podcasting. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.
See you later, guys.